In this presentation, I'm going to share some things about me I think might be good to know if I'm going to be considered for a position. Thank you for your time. I'm going to cover off my apprenticeship, my leadership positions, some QA/QC work I've done, and throw in a little bit more about myself. First, I've been in the electrical field for about 20 years. It all started when I was 16 and wanted to pick up some work for the summer. A helper position came up at EcoPower. I dove in. I must have been a quick learner because I wasn't sweeping floors, but building control plates for their systems. Yeah, that's me. As a young technician, the job was not simple. We built systems from scratch, and I started to learn the basics of how electricity flowed in a circuit. I ended up on the installation crew, running pipe, pulling wires, and putting the system into action. I really enjoyed watching the equipment come to life. I knew I had found something great. The company needed more help on the installation end, and it made sense for me to get licensed. It was off to Fanshawe for me. I already knew how to run conduit, cable, connect wires, but I never expected math to make any sense to me. I was nervous. I kind of skipped over that in high school. My opinion changed as I was immersed in math, knee-deep. Series and parallel circuits, DC versus AC, the list just kept going, but numbers started to make sense to me. I loved the learning part and looked forward to the school terms. It actually worked so well for me, I graduated in the top 20% of my class. I even took a physics course after I finished. Graduating from Fanshawe, I took a lead position with Tilston Services. The first project I was on was Gailey Foods in Guelph. Our crew installed a tray system for high voltage feeder cables for the new addition to the building. I started to understand that there was so much more upstream field applications I hadn't even thought of. Substations. I didn't even know what one was. Within a year, I had learned a ton around building and maintaining substations from my peers. I could create a safe work zone by opening incoming switches, sign hold-offs, supporting guarantees from utility, test incoming lines and ground them, and coordinate all the closure of downstream switches to drain the system. It was an amazing experience. Shortly after, I was placed in the role of supervisor and began to run the construction site. Maintaining fluidity and cooperation between subtrades as well as job safety was intense. Bringing new workers up to standards was part of every hour of my day. Challenges? Check. Working under pressure? Well, this was a whole new level, and I thrived. While I enjoyed the challenge of Tilston immensely, their financial troubles triggered a restructuring I wasn't part of. I was recruited by a company, Magna 4 Engineering, to be lead hand in the commissioning crew on new pipeline stations for Enbridge. These were time-sensitive projects with financial penalties to Magna. Thousands of connections, switches, contactors, loose nuts and bolts. If there was a needle in a haystack, I was looking for it. Fortunately, there were few, but all could cause serious damage to the equipment, catastrophic even. My own troubleshooting skills were well used, and I experienced a whole new level of quality assurance. During my time with Tilston, I had a particularly memorable experience with Canada Bread. We had received a distress call to Canada Bread factory in Hamilton. One of the customer-owned transformers had blown and was on fire. Hydro One was looking for direction from the customer on what to do, though ideally they would have cut power already. It was a show. We instructed Hydro One to disconnect, and once the site was cool and secure, we did our situational assessment. It took us 16 hours from start to finish. Remove, replace, test. There was melted stuff everywhere. Based on the damage, Canada Bread was very grateful for the short time they were down. I could talk for hours, but I'll save that for another time. It is important for me to be close to home, and I have taken a position with a small company doing residential and commercial service calls and construction. I love the troubleshooting aspect of this type of work. I really enjoy being close to home and now have time on my hands to start my learning process. I enrolled in a correspondence course for the electronics technician, and I'm very excited to expand my knowledge base. It has drawn me in at an early age, the electrical field. Rewarding, it's always kept me hungry for knowledge. I do also enjoy certain hobbies, unrelated to electrical work. I'm an avid photographer, and always try to get a good angle. I also enjoy nature hikes, trail riding with my mountain bike, and bringing my camera along for the journeys. You never know what you'll find. I'm always looking to broaden my perspective in the electrical field, and will continue to look for ways to excel in my field using the skills acquired. I'm very excited about getting the opportunity to troubleshoot and learn about other ways and other areas in my field. For all these reasons, I feel I am a great candidate for the position within the company. Thank you again for your time.